Today we're going to continue talking about multiplying mixed numbers, using rectangle sections. Mixed numbers using rectangle sections. Alright, so here we go. Matthew's building a tree house. The length of the tree house is 4 2/3 meters. The width of the tree house is 3 3/4 meters. What's the area? Area is my big action word. I know for area, the formula, or what I do, is length times width. So I'm going to multiply. 4 2/3 times 3 3/4. So instead of drawing boxes, instead of shading them in, I'm still going to break these numbers up into two parts. I'm still going to multiply all four. When I did the area model, I ended up with like a whole section. I ended up with the parts, and then I ended up with teeny tiny parts. I had 4 different sections. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw a box for rectangle sections, which are large enough that I can do my work inside. Okay, so I'm going to put my 4 here, my 2/3 here, my 3 here, my 3/4 here. Okay, so inside of this box, I'm going to do 3 times 4. We did this for decimals. We did this for multiplying whole numbers, so this process should be a total review. But this time we're dealing with fractions. So I have 3 times 4, and I get 12. All right, so this one, I'm going to do 3 times 2/3. Okay, I've done models with this before, but let's look at a shortcut. If I have 3 whole groups, how many parts are inside of each group? 1. Let's make a note of this so that we can remember in our notes. The denominator oh, it's not quite fitting in the screen. The denominator of a whole number is 1. The denominator of a whole number is 1 every time. So, all I have to do is 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 3 is 3. Let's do this one. 4 times 3/4. I just wrote the denominator of a whole number is 1. 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 4 is 4. So let's do this one. 3/4 times 2/3. 3/4 times 2/3. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 3 is 12. So I have my 4 parts. I'm going to add them up over here. I have a whole number of 12. Let's look at 6/3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 go in a group. 1, 2. 6/3 is actually equal to 6 divided by 3 is 2. Well, that worked out nice and neat. 2 wholes. What about this one? 12 divided by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Divided by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. That's great. no fractions to deal with. 6 twelfths, we've been talking about this in class. We should notice this. 6 is half of 12. So this should automatically be equal to a half. I have my 4 parts, so I have to add them up. Half, that was easy, no other fractions. 2 and 2 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. So the answer to this fraction here is 17 and a half. I cannot simply do 4 times 3 and then these fractions. I can't do that. So I made 4 boxes. I multiplied each part, then I added them together. So let's work on another one. So the Wolf Bakery bakes puppy biscuits that uses 3½ cups of flour. How much flour did Mary Lou use to make 3½ batches? So I need 3½ times 3½ batches. 3½ times 3½ batches. 3½ times 3½ batches. Okay, so first step, draw your big rectangle, make it large enough that you can do all your work inside of it. If you only fit 2 problems on a page, that's perfectly fine. Give yourself enough space. So, 3½ 3½. So I'm going to do 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. I always love this first box because it's always with whole numbers, so it's always a little easier. 3 times 1/2. What's the denominator of a whole number? 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. Down here, 3 times 1/2. I just did that problem up here. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. So down here, I have 1/2 times 1/2. Multiply your numerators 1, multiply your denominators 4. Does multiplying or going straight across work for adding or subtracting? No, it only works for multiplying. So I have my 4 parts, now I have to put them over here. 9, 3/2, that's improper. 1, 2, 3. How many make up one group? 2. So I'm going to circle 2. 1 whole and 1 part left over. 3/2 equals 1½. Let's come over here. Well, I just did this problem. 3/2 is 1½. Because this is the same as this. And this one down here, 1/4 is already the best way I can write it. Alright, so this time I have a little work. These are halves. This is fourths. So what am I going to do? I'm going to multiply these by 4. And I'm going to multiply this one by 2. So these I'm going to do by 4, and these I'm going to do by 2. So I get 4 eighths, 4 eighths. So I'm going to get 2 eighths. So let's look at what I did. I had 3 numbers this time, but 2 of them were the same, so I just multiplied it by the other. 4 plus 4 is 8, 2 more is 10. 9, 10, 11. What do I know about 10 eighths? It is improper. So I have to change 10 eighths into a mixed number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many go in a group? 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. 1 whole group, 2 left over. So 11 plus 1 is 12 and 2 eighths. But 2 eighths is not simplified. I can divide that by 2. 2 can go into both of those. So my final answer here is 12 and 1/4. 12 and 1/4. So what do I do every time? Let's recap what I did. I multiply each part, and I add the 4 parts. Then I check for improper fractions. Then I simplify. So I multiply all 4. I always have 4 boxes. Then I add all 4. Then I check for improper fractions. Then I check to simplify. Okay, let's do one more. A park play set is 4 3/5 meters long. Its width, oh, here's an action word, width, I can predict what's going to happen, is 2.5 times its length. What's the width? 2.5 times. So I have this, and this one is 2 1/3 times this one. So I'm multiplying here. 4 3/5, 2 1/3. 4 3/5 times 2 1/3. What do I have to do first? If you drew your rectangle box, divide it into 4 parts, you are exactly right. 4 parts. Let's label. Go ahead see if you know where the numbers go. See if you can be one step ahead. All right, let's do it. 2 times 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3/5. What did I highlight on the other page? I can kind of see it through my highlighting here. Denominator of a whole number is 1. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 5 is 5. 4 times 1/3. My denominator is 1. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. 1/3 times 3/5. 3/15. I did all 4 parts. Now I have to add. 8 wholes, 6/5. Is there a better way for me to write that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many go in a group? 5. 1 whole, 1 whole group, 1 left over. Denominator stays the same. 1 whole, 1 left over. Denominator stays the same. What about 4/3? 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 go in a group. 1 whole, 1 left over. I also know 4 minus 3 is 1. 6 minus 5 is 1. If you've been coming for morning tutoring, we've been talking about that. 1 1/3. 3/15. Is there a better way for me to write 3/15? I know 3 can go in there. 3 can go in there. So I have 1/5. All right, I have 2 5s and 1 3. So I'm going to multiply this one times 3. And multiply this one by the other. What am I going to multiply this one by? 3. Okay, so let's do it. 3. 5 times 3 is 15. 1 times 5 is 5. 15. 3. 15. My goal every time should be to have common denominators. Now I can add them. 3 plus 5 is 8. 3 more is 11. 8, 9, 10. Check improper fractions. Nope. 11 is smaller than 15. Can I simplify? Nope. 11 is prime. The only numbers that can go into 11 are 1 in itself, and those cannot go into 15. That does anything. So here's my final answer. Tomorrow we're going to practice this. We're going to spend a few days practicing this. So if you need to rewatch this video so you can understand these steps again, make sure you do that.